All right, so looking here at, here we'll start. Start with this 3c squared minus 17c minus 6. Okay, so we're trying to find the factors of 3, which are going to be 3 and 1, and the factors of negative 6, which are going to be, one's going to be negative, one's going to be positive. Now our b value here, note that it's a negative 17. That means that our value needs to be negative. So negative 6 and 1 are going to be one of the options, and negative 3 and 3. I'm not going to use negative 1 and 6 because with this negative being smaller, I feel I would not get a negative here in my C. Okay, so now I'm going to check and see what combination of multiplying these together is going to give me a negative 17. So we can go 3 times negative 6. So I'm just taking one factor times the other, and then the next factor of 3 times the next factor of 6. So that's going to be 1 times 1. So this gives me a negative 18, and this gives me positive 1. So negative 18 plus 1 equals a negative 17. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's our b value here. So now we're going to use these factors in our binomial, in our two binomials. So for our x's, sorry, this should be our c's, we're going to have a 3c and a 1c. Okay, and now one is going to be positive, one's going to be negative. And now I'm going to take the 3 times the negative 6, which means the negative 6 needs to appear over in the opposite binomial. Okay, then that leaves me within the positive 1 right here. So my factors right here of 3 are going to be my coefficients in my two binomials. And then the factors of C are going to be my constants in the binomials. Okay, and if when you do the factors, you don't get a negative 17, you might have to just switch these, the plus 1 and the minus 6. But if you take the whatever one you multiply, the opposite one needs to be in the opposite binomial. Okay, and then real quick, I'm just going to show you factor by grouping way. So this way you would just take a times c, which is 3 times negative 6. And there you would get a negative 18. So now you go, okay, what are the factors of negative 18? That add up to be negative 17, and that would just be negative 18 and 1. So now you're going to split up this b value here with a negative 18 and 1. So now it'd be 3c squared minus 18c plus 1c minus 6. Okay, and what you'll notice is that if you add these two values together, you're going to get a negative 17. So now we can group these together and factor out the greatest common factor. So here, the greatest common factor here of 3c squared and 18c is going to be 3c, which is then going to leave us with a c minus 6, which is the same as this right here. And then when you factor out on this one, it's just going to be a 1, which is going to leave you with a 1c or a c minus 6. Okay, so this tells us that this term and this term are going to be one of our binomials. And then our other one is the one that appears twice. Okay, so that would be factoring by grouping. So if that way makes sense, use it. If not, you can stick with this first way.